All right, guys, we got a cool video today. Look up here on the screen where it says Jesus and the Adulteress by James Edward Snapp Jr. The case for keeping John 7:53 to 8:11 in the Bible. I picked up this man's book off YouTube. It was 10, 12 bucks, something like that. Go check it out. Very cool so far. This is where this whole video is based off of. That's where I got this information from. Well, the information on the you'll see. All right, we're going to jump over here to John in John 7:53 in ESV. All right, it says the earliest manuscripts do not include 7:53 and 8:11. Okay, now we're going to go over here to John 7 NIV. The earliest manuscripts and many other ancient witnesses do not have John 7:53 to 8:11. Okay, now these notes up here, I've got the Bibles pulled out. I'm not going to hold them up and show you on the screen, but they say that in the NIV and the ESV. And in my NASB, it says that John 7:53 and 8:11 was a later addition, is what it says. So that's what the footnotes say. And to be fair, all three of these Bibles that I have, they have it in brackets, and then they have John 7:53 through 8:11. So it is in there. But when you put it in brackets, it kind of casts doubt. Like, why is it in the Bible if it's not authoritative? If it's not scripture, why is it in there? Is it just a bad witness? But we're going to keep moving on. They base these modern Bibles off the Codex Sinaiticus and the Codex Vaticanus. And there's a few others, but those are two of the major names that you'll hear. But we're going to look at this Codex Vaticanus. Oh, what is going on here? Codex Vaticanus. It has been dated to the 4th century AD. Okay. Then we're going to come over here to Codex Sinaiticus. Right here, this one's also has been dated to the mid 4th century. All right, so these Bibles that do not have John 7:53 to 8:11 in it are based off a manuscript text that come from the mid 4th century or 4th century. All right, now we're going to go back to James Snapp's book, Jesus and the Adulteress. In chapter 5 of this book, he points out this old writing called see if I make sure I pronounce it right, the Didascalia Apostolorum. All right, let me read this to you. Didascalia Apostolorum, or just Didascalia, is an early Christian legal treaty which belongs to the genre of the church orders. It presents itself as being written by the 12 apostles at the time of the Council of Jerusalem. However, scholars agree that it was actually a later composition, with most estimates suggesting the 3rd century and other estimates suggesting as late as the 4th century. So this was written earlier than Codex Sinaiticus and earlier than Vaticanus, or right at the same time. Jump down here, the history. Now, I know this is just Wikipedia, this is not a scholarly source, but it says the Didascalia was probably composed in the 3rd century in Syria near Antioch. All right, so that's what we're seeing right here. All right, now we're going to go to the Didascalia Apostolorum. I want you to know it's in chapter 7. So James Snapp in his book points out in chapter 5 that in chapter 7 of the Didascalia Didascalia Apostolorum, I want you to know I read all of chapter 7 to find this. So you see all this? I read every bit of this to find what he was talking about. So even though they say that these other manuscripts are more ancient, more reliable, so that's the reason for taking out 753. But in this ancient manuscript from the 3rd century or 4th century, the same time that those other Bibles were made, look at this right here. Thank you, James Snapp, for pointing this out. I would never have known this. The searcher of hearts asked her and said to her, have the elders condemned thee, my daughter? She said to him, Nay, Lord. And he said unto her, Go thy way, neither do I condemn thee. So the verse was there, the scripture was there. So why it's not in Vaticanus or Sinaiticus, I don't know. Plus, this right here comes out of Syria around Antioch. I would say it's more authoritative than Vaticanus, than Rome or Alexandria anyway. But that's just my opinion. I just want to give a big shout out to James Snapp for writing this book because this is too cool, man. And now, guys, I'm about to start quoting a quote. This is going to be my quote. The more I study, I find the more I need to study because there is just so much to learn. James Snapp, buy his book, check it out. Jesus and the Adulteress. You guys, I hope you enjoyed this little quick video. Have a great rest of the day.